Your timing is about to change in a way that will make you question everything you thought you knew about waiting, Gemini. And if you stay with me through the end of this reading, you are going to understand exactly why the delays, the frustrations, and the near misses you have been experiencing were never punishments but precise recalibrations designed to place you in the exact right moment for what is coming. Something has felt off for you lately. You have sensed it in the way opportunities seem to slip through your fingers at the last second. You have felt it in the way your plans kept getting rearranged by forces outside your control. You have noticed it in the quiet ache of wondering whether the universe has forgotten about you or worse, whether you somehow missed your window. But here is what I need you to hear right now. You did not miss anything. Your window was never where you thought it was. It is here. It is now. And this week carries 10 specific energies that are going to show you not only why your timing is suddenly improving, but exactly what to do with it, so that you do not waste a single drop of this momentum. The insights at the end of this reading connect to everything before them, so do not skip ahead. Let each piece land where it needs to. By the time we are done, you will see your situation from a different angle. Tip 1. The first energy moving through your sign this week is one of alignment. And I need you to understand what alignment truly means because it is one of the most misunderstood concepts in the entire realm of personal growth and spiritual development. Alignment is not about everything going perfectly. It is not about waking up every morning feeling blissful and inspired and ready to conquer the world. Alignment is about being in the right place at the right time with the right energy, even when the circumstances around you still feel messy. And that is exactly where you are standing right now, Gemini. You are aligned. You just do not recognize it yet because you have been measuring alignment by the wrong standards. You have been looking for external proof. You have been waiting for the big sign, the dramatic confirmation, the unmistakable moment where the heavens part and a voice tells you that you are on the right track. But alignment does not always announce itself like that. Sometimes alignment is quiet. Sometimes it is subtle. Sometimes it shows up as a gentle nudge rather than a loud push. And if you are too busy looking for fireworks, you will miss the candlelight that has been burning steadily in the corner of your life this entire time. This week, that candlelight grows brighter. You are going to start noticing small synchronicities that you would have dismissed a month ago. A name that keeps coming up in conversations. A number that keeps appearing in unexpected places. A thought that lands in your mind at the exact moment you needed it, as if someone planted it there on purpose. These are not coincidences. These are coordinates. The universe is giving you a map, Gemini, but you have to pay attention to read it. Here is the practical side of this energy. Alignment this week means that the things you do, even small things, are going to have an outsized impact. A simple conversation could open a door that has been locked for years. A random decision to go somewhere different, take a new route, try something you would not normally try. That could set off a chain of events that completely redirects the next chapter of your life. This is what it means when your timing improves. It is not that the world suddenly bends to your will. It is that your natural rhythm syncs up with the rhythm of what is unfolding around you, and everything starts to flow in a way that feels almost effortless. But I want to give you a warning too. Alignment is not permanent unless you maintain it. You cannot stumble into alignment and then go back to your old patterns and expect the magic to continue. Alignment requires awareness. It requires presence. It requires you to keep showing up with intention, even on the days when you do not feel like it. Especially on those days, because the universe does not just reward talent. It rewards consistency. And this week is your invitation to be consistent in ways you have not been before. Show up for yourself every single day. Not when it is easy, not when it is fun. Every single day. That is how you turn a moment of alignment into a season of breakthrough. There is something else happening beneath this alignment energy that I want you to be aware of. Your intuition is sharpening. That inner knowing that Gemini sometimes overthinks into silence. It is getting louder. This week, you are going to have moments where you just know something without being able to explain how you know it. Trust those moments. Do not analyze them to death. Do not run them through your rational mind until all the magic has been squeezed out. Just trust. Your gut has been calibrating itself for exactly this time, and it is more accurate right now than it has been in a very long time. Tip 2. The second energy this week involves a pattern you have been repeating without realizing it. And once you see it, you will not be able to unsee it. This is the pattern of self-sabotage through hesitation. Gemini, you are one of the quickest minds in the entire zodiac. You can process information faster than most people can even absorb it. You can see angles and possibilities that others completely miss. But there is a shadow side to that mental speed, and it is this: you think yourself out of action. You analyze until the window closes. You weigh pros and cons until the opportunity expires. And then you tell yourself that it was not meant to be, when the truth is that you just waited too long. This week, that pattern comes face to face with an energy that will not tolerate delay. An opportunity is going to present itself, and it is going to require a faster response than you are comfortable giving. Your instinct will be to ask for more time, to sleep on it, to gather more information, to consult with everyone you know before making a move. But this time that approach will cost you, not because the opportunity is so fleeting that it vanishes in an instant, but because the version of you who hesitates is not the version of you who is ready for what is next. Let me put this another way. There are two versions of you operating right now. There is the version that plays it safe, that stays in the comfort zone, that chooses the known over the unknown every single time because at least the known is predictable. And then there is the version that has been growing quietly in the background, gaining strength, gaining clarity, gaining courage. The version that is ready to leap even without a net. This week, the universe is asking which version gets to drive. And the answer to that question will determine what the rest of this month looks like for you. I am not suggesting you be reckless. That is not what this energy is about. There is a profound difference between recklessness and decisiveness. Recklessness ignores information. Decisiveness uses the information it has and moves forward, without needing every single variable to be accounted for. You will never have all the information, Gemini. No one ever does. The most successful people in history did not wait until they had perfect clarity. They acted when they had enough clarity. And right now you have enough. More than enough, actually. You have been gathering data and building understanding for months. The research phase is over. The preparation phase is complete. This is the execution phase. And execution demands motion. Pay attention to the exact moment this week when you feel the pull of hesitation. That moment is your signal. That is the universe saying, here it is, what are you going to do? And if you can push past that initial resistance, if you can take the first step even when your palms are sweating and your mind is screaming at you to wait, you are going to discover something remarkable about yourself. You are going to discover that you are far more capable of handling uncertainty than you ever gave yourself credit for. The fear of the unknown is almost always worse than the unknown itself. And once you are on the other side of that first courageous step, you will wonder why you ever hesitated at all. There is a deep connection between this energy and what comes next in tip 3. But before we get there, I want to make sure you understand something crucial. Your hesitation has not been weakness. It has been protection. Your mind was trying to keep you safe by slowing you down. And in many past situations that served you well. But the season has changed. The terrain has shifted. And the strategy that kept you safe before is now the very thing holding you back. It is time for a new strategy. One built on trust rather than fear. One built on forward motion rather than careful stillness. If what you're hearing feels accurate, imagine what could happen if you applied this energy intentionally for 21 consecutive days. That's exactly what the 21-day program in the pinned comment is built for. Daily guidance, focused direction, and real momentum. If you're tired of staying in the same cycle, this is your structure. Tip 3. The third energy this week is going to challenge you in a way that might feel uncomfortable, but it is absolutely necessary for what is ahead. This energy is about emotional honesty, and for a sign that often lives in its head, this is where the real work begins. Gemini, you are brilliant at communicating with others. You can charm a room. You can explain complex ideas in ways that anyone can understand. You can talk your way into and out of almost any situation. But when it comes to communicating with yourself about what you actually feel, that is where things get tangled. You have been intellectualizing your emotions. You have been turning feelings into theories, converting heartache into analysis, translating pain into logic. And while that is an impressive defense mechanism, it is also a wall. A wall between you and the depth of your own experience. A wall between you and the people who want to truly know you. A wall between you and the kind of intimacy, both with yourself and with others, that your soul is desperately craving right now. This week, a crack appears in that wall. Something is going to happen that your mind cannot neatly categorize. An emotion is going to rise up that does not fit into any of the tidy boxes you have built. It might be grief that has been buried for years. It might be a surge of joy so powerful that it frightens you. It might be anger that you have been pushing down because you told yourself that getting angry was not productive. Whatever this emotion is, it is going to demand to be felt, not analyzed. Felt. And here is what I need you to understand about feeling your emotions rather than thinking about them. When you feel an emotion fully, it moves through you and then it passes. It does not stay. It does not take up permanent residence. Flows like water through a river and then it is gone. But when you think about an emotion instead of feeling it, when you try to manage it with logic instead of experiencing it with your whole body, it gets stuck. It lodges somewhere in your chest or your throat or your stomach and it stays there, hardening into something chronic. That is why you have been carrying tension you cannot explain. That is why certain topics make your jaw clench or your stomach flip. Those are unfelt emotions, stored in your body, waiting for permission to finally be released. This week grants that permission, but you have to accept it. You have to be willing to sit with discomfort long enough for it to transform into something else. And I know that is not easy for you. Gemini wants to move. Gemini wants to fix. Gemini wants to find the solution and implement it immediately. But some things do not have solutions. Some things just need to be honored. Some feelings just need to be acknowledged and allowed to exist without being fixed, without being improved, without being turned into a lesson or a takeaway or a strategy for next time. There is tremendous power in simply saying I feel this, and I am not going to run from it. There is a strength in vulnerability that most people never discover because they are too busy armoring themselves against it. This week, Gemini, your armor gets a crack. And through that crack, something beautiful is going to pour in. Not despite the vulnerability, but because of it. I also want to point out that this emotional honesty is not just about your inner world. It is about your outer world too. This week, someone in your life needs to hear what you actually feel, not the polished version, not the edited version, not the version that sounds good and makes everyone comfortable. The real version. The raw, unfiltered truth of your heart. And when you offer that to them, something shifts between you. A barrier that has been standing for months, maybe years, begins to dissolve. Not because you said something clever, but because you said something true. Tip 4. The fourth energy this week is connected to your career or your purpose, and it is moving fast. Something you planted weeks or even months ago is starting to sprout, and you might not recognize it at first because it is not growing in the direction you expected. This is critical for you to understand, Gemini, because your tendency is to define success in very specific terms. You have a picture in your mind of what progress looks like. You have a checklist. You have milestones. And when reality does not match that picture, you assume you have failed or that nothing is happening. But growth does not always follow your blueprint. Sometimes it follows its own map, and that map is wiser than anything your planning mind could have designed. This week, evidence of your progress shows up in unexpected places. It might be a compliment from someone you respect. It might be a realization that a skill you have been developing has reached a level of mastery you did not even notice. It might be a door opening in a field you had not seriously considered, but that makes perfect sense when you think about the journey that brought you here. The universe is not confused about your path, even when you are. And right now, it is showing you that your path has been building towards something specific all along. You just could not see it because you were standing too close. Take a step back this week. Zoom out. Look at the last 6 months, the last year, the last several years of your life, not as a series of random events, but as a coherent story with a clear direction. When you do this, patterns emerge. Themes become visible. The thread that connects all of your seemingly disconnected experiences becomes obvious. And that thread, that is your purpose. Not the purpose someone else assigned to you. Not the purpose you chose because it sounded impressive or practical or safe. Your actual purpose. The thing you were put here to do. The contribution only you can make. Now, here is where timing comes into play. The reason your timing has felt off in the career or purpose department is because you were trying to force growth before the roots were deep enough. You were trying to produce fruit before the season was right. And the universe, in its wisdom, kept saying not yet. Not because you were incapable, not because you were undeserving, but because premature success would have overwhelmed a foundation that was not yet ready to support it. This week, the foundation firms up, the roots go deep enough, and suddenly, growth that was blocked before starts moving again. Projects that stalled come back to life. Ideas that felt dead suddenly pulse with new energy. Connections that went cold start warming up again. Your timing is not just improving randomly. It is improving because you are finally ready for what your timing is bringing you. But there is a responsibility that comes with this improved timing, and I want to be direct about it. When doors start opening, you have to walk through them. You cannot stand in the doorway admiring the view. You cannot peek inside and then retreat to think about it for another month. The energy of this week demands forward motion in your professional or purposeful life. Take the meeting, make the call, send the message, submit the application, share the idea. Whatever the next step is, take it before the week is out. Because your timing is a gift, but gifts have expiration dates when they are not received with gratitude and action. There is one more layer to this career energy that I feel drawn to mention. Someone above you or ahead of you on a similar path is watching. They have been observing your work, your character, your persistence. And this week, they are going to make a move that signals their recognition. It might be subtle. It might be as simple as an invitation to collaborate or a word of encouragement that carries more weight than it seems on the surface. Do not brush it off. That signal is the beginning of a professional relationship that could shape the next chapter of your career in ways you cannot yet imagine. Tip 5. The fifth energy this week carries a message about your health. And I do not mean this in a clinical or frightening way. I mean it in a holistic, whole-being kind of way that encompasses your physical body, your mental state, your emotional reserves, and your spiritual vitality. All four of those are connected, Gemini. And this week, one of them is sending you a signal that you have been ignoring, and it is time to pay attention. Your body has been talking to you. It has been sending messages through fatigue, through tension, through aches that appear and disappear without explanation, through sleep that does not feel restful, through energy that crashes at odd times during the day. These are not random symptoms. They are your body's way of telling you that something in your lifestyle is out of balance. Something needs to change. Not dramatically, not through some extreme overhaul that you will abandon after 3 days. Through a simple, sustainable adjustment that addresses the root cause rather than the surface symptom. This week, you are going to have a moment of clarity about what that adjustment is. It might come through a conversation with someone who shares a piece of information that clicks into place. It might come through your own reflection, through sitting quietly and asking your body what it needs and actually listening to the answer. Whatever form this clarity takes, receive it with respect. Do not dismiss it because it seems too simple. The most powerful changes are often the simplest ones. Drinking more water, going to bed earlier, moving your body more gently instead of more intensely, cutting out something that you know has been draining your energy, but that you have been keeping in your life out of habit or convenience. There is also a mental health component to this energy that I need to address directly. Gemini, your mind is your greatest asset, but it is also the part of you most prone to exhaustion. You think constantly. You process constantly. Your brain is like a browser with 47 tabs open at all times, and it never fully shuts down, not even when you sleep. That level of mental activity takes a toll, and the toll has been accumulating. This week, you are being asked to give your mind permission to rest. Not just sleep, but rest. True cognitive rest, where you are not solving problems or planning ahead or replaying the past. Just quiet, open, still. If meditation has never worked for you, that is fine. This is not about meditation. This is about finding whatever activity or non-activity allows your mind to go offline for a few minutes. For some people, it is walking. For others, it is sitting in nature. For others, it is doing something repetitive with their hands that occupies the surface of the mind and lets the deeper layers relax. Whatever your version of mental rest looks like, prioritize it this week. Not as a luxury, not as something you will get to when everything else is done, as a non-negotiable part of your daily routine. And here is why this matters beyond just feeling better. When your mind is rested, your timing improves even further. When you are not operating from a place of mental exhaustion, you make better decisions. You see opportunities more clearly. You respond to situations with wisdom instead of reaction. The improvement in timing that this week brings, it is directly connected to how well you care for the instrument that perceives and interprets that timing. Your mind is that instrument. Treat it accordingly. One more thing about this health energy. Do not compare your needs to anyone else's. What works for someone else's body or mind might not work for yours. This week is about listening to your own signals, not following someone else's prescription. You are the foremost expert on what your body and mind require. Trust that expertise, act on it, and watch how quickly things shift when the vessel carrying your dreams is properly maintained and genuinely cared for. Tip 6. The sixth energy this week is about a secret, something you have been keeping to yourself either consciously or unconsciously, and the weight of that secret has been affecting more of your life than you realize. Now, I am not here to judge you for keeping it. Everyone has things they hold close. Everyone has truths they are not ready to share. But there is a difference between healthy privacy and toxic secrecy, and this week is going to help you understand which side of that line you are standing on. Healthy privacy is when you choose not to share something because the time is not right, or because it is genuinely personal and does not affect anyone else, or because you are still processing it and need more space before you bring others into it. That is wisdom. That is boundaries. That is entirely appropriate. Toxic secrecy is different. Toxic secrecy is when you hide something because you are afraid of what would happen if people knew. When the hiding itself becomes a source of stress, of shame, of isolation. When the energy it takes to maintain the secret starts draining your reserves and distorting your behavior in ways that other people can sense even if they cannot name. This week, the energy around this secret shifts. You might feel an unexpected urge to talk about it. You might find yourself on the verge of revealing it in a conversation and then pulling back at the last moment. You might dream about it in vivid, unsettling ways that leave you feeling exposed when you wake up. All of these are signs that the secret is ready to move. It is ready to be released from the dark corner where you have been storing it, not because you have to announce it to the world, but because you need to at least acknowledge it fully to yourself. Here is what happens when you stop hiding from yourself. Energy that was being used to maintain the wall of secrecy gets freed up and becomes available for other things. Things like creativity, things like connection, things like joy. You would be amazed at how much of your vital energy is being consumed by the simple act of keeping something locked away. It is like running a massive program in the background of your computer that you forgot was open. It slows everything else down, drains the battery, and makes the whole system run hot. Closing that program does not just fix one problem. It improves the performance of everything else. I want to be clear that this tip is not telling you to go confess something publicly or have a dramatic revelation scene. That may or may not be appropriate depending on your situation. What this tip is telling you is to stop lying to yourself about whatever it is you have been hiding. Stop minimizing it. Stop pretending it is not there. Stop acting like it does not matter. It matters. It has been mattering this whole time. And the moment you face it honestly, even if you only face it in the privacy of your own heart, something lifts, something lightens, and that lightness, that is the spaciousness you need for the next phase of your life to unfold properly. There is also a possibility that someone else's secret comes to light this week, and it involves you directly or indirectly. If that happens, resist the urge to react immediately. Sit with the information. Let it settle before you respond, because your first reaction might not be your truest reaction. Gemini processes quickly, but deep truths need time to be fully understood. Give yourself that time. The situation will still be there tomorrow, and your response will be much more grounded and much more effective if you let the initial shock pass before you act. Tip 7. The seventh energy this week touches something ancient within you, and I mean that in the most literal sense possible. There is a pattern running through your life that did not start with you. It was inherited, passed down through generations, woven into the fabric of your family's story long before you were born. And this week, you become aware of it in a way that changes how you see not just yourself, but your entire lineage. Every family carries patterns. Some are beautiful traditions of resilience, of creativity, of generosity that get passed from parent to child like precious heirlooms. But others are heavy. Patterns of fear, patterns of lack, patterns of emotional avoidance, patterns of self-sabotage that repeat themselves generation after generation because no one ever stopped long enough to see them clearly, name them honestly, and choose differently. This week, Gemini, you become the one who stops. You become the one who sees. It might start with a memory, a sudden vivid recollection of something that happened in your childhood. Not necessarily something traumatic, but something formative. Something that shaped the way you see the world, the way you handle conflict, the way you relate to love, to money, to success, to your own worth. And when this memory surfaces, instead of pushing it away or analyzing it into abstraction, I want you to sit with it. Let it tell you its full story. Let it show you the thread that connects it to the patterns you have been living out in your adult life. Because here is the thing about inherited patterns. They are not destiny. They are programming. And programming can be changed. But it can only be changed once it is recognized. You cannot override code you do not know exists. You cannot heal a wound you refuse to see. This week is about seeing. Really seeing. Seeing the ways your family's story has been writing chapters in your life without your conscious permission. Seeing the beliefs you adopted as truth simply because everyone around you believed them. Seeing the limitations you accepted not because they were real, but because they were familiar. And once you see all of that, once you truly see it with clear, compassionate eyes, you get to make a choice. Do you continue the pattern, or do you break it? Do you pass it on, or do you transform it? This is not a small question, Gemini. This is one of the most significant spiritual decisions a person can make. And this week, you are ready to make it. Not because the stars force you to, but because you have grown enough, healed enough, and become aware enough to stand at that crossroads and choose your own direction. The practical implication of this energy is that you might find yourself doing things differently this week without fully understanding why. You might respond to a familiar trigger in an entirely new way. You might catch yourself about to repeat an old behavior and for the first time choose something else. These moments might seem small. They are not. They are tectonic. They are the beginning of a new chapter, not just for you, but for everyone who comes after you. When you break a generational pattern, you do not just free yourself. You free everyone connected to your lineage, both those who came before and those who will come after. That is the magnitude of what this week is offering you. Do not take it lightly. There is a conversation to be had this week, possibly with an older family member or someone who represents your family's history. In that conversation, listen more than you speak. Ask questions you have never asked before. Seek to understand not just what happened, but why. And in that understanding, find the compassion to forgive what needs forgiving and the courage to change what needs changing. Tip 8. The 8th energy this week is about trust, and specifically about rebuilding trust in a world that has given you plenty of reasons not to. You have been let down, Gemini, more times than most people know. You have extended trust and had it thrown back in your face. You have opened doors and been walked through by people who did not deserve your welcome. You have shared pieces of yourself with people who handled those pieces carelessly, and you learned the hard way that not everyone who asks for access to your inner world has earned the right to be there. So you built walls. Intelligent, well-constructed, carefully maintained walls that look like friendliness on the outside, but are made of reinforced steel on the inside. You learned to be warm without being vulnerable, open without being exposed, present without being truly available. And that strategy has served you well in many ways. It has protected your heart. It has preserved your peace. It has kept you functional in a world that does not always reward openness and sincerity. But this week, those walls become a problem. Because something beautiful is trying to reach you, and it cannot get through. A connection, a genuine soul-level connection with another person, is knocking on your door, and you keep pretending you are not home. Not because you do not want it. You want it desperately, but because the last time you opened that door you got hurt. And the memory of that hurt is louder right now than the promise of what might be different this time. Here is what I need you to understand. Trust is not an all-or-nothing proposition. You do not have to throw the doors wide open and let everyone in. Trust is given in increments. It is earned through consistent behavior over time. It is a choice you make moment by moment, day by day, based on evidence rather than blind faith. And this week, someone in your life is providing that evidence. They are showing up consistently. They are being reliable without being asked. They are demonstrating through their actions, not just their words, that they are worthy of the trust you have been withholding. Your job this week is not to trust completely. Your job is to trust a little more. To lower the wall by one brick. To let one person one step closer. Not because you have a guarantee that it will work out perfectly, but because a life lived entirely behind walls is not really a life at all. It is a fortress, and fortresses, for all their safety, are also prisons. You cannot keep the bad out without also keeping the good out. And right now, the good that is trying to reach you is worth the risk of lowering your guard just enough to let it in. There is also a dimension of self-trust in this energy that matters enormously. Because at the deepest level, the trust you are struggling with is not really about other people. It is about yourself. Do you trust yourself to handle it if things go wrong? Do you trust yourself to survive another disappointment? Do you trust yourself to set boundaries, to walk away if necessary, to protect your own heart without hiding it completely? Those are the real questions. And the answer to all of them, whether you believe it right now or not, is yes. You have survived every difficult thing that has ever happened to you. Every single one. And you are still here, still standing, still reading this, still hoping, still open enough to be moved by words on a screen. That is not weakness. That is extraordinary strength. And it is the proof you need that you can handle whatever comes next. This week, take one step toward trust. Just one. A small act of openness. A moment of genuine vulnerability with someone who has shown themselves to be safe. And notice what happens. Notice how it feels. Notice what it opens. Because that one small step is the beginning of a much larger journey. And every great journey begins with the courage to move when standing still feels so much safer. Some people watch. Others transform. If you want to be in the second group, the 21-day guide in the pinned comment gives you a clear step-by-step process aligned with your sign. This isn't about waiting. It's about moving. Tip 9. The 9th energy this week is about creativity, and not in the way you might expect. I am not necessarily talking about painting or writing or making music, although those might be involved. I am talking about creative living, the art of approaching your everyday existence with imagination, with freshness, with the willingness to see old things in new ways, and to try approaches that no one around you is trying. Gemini has always had a creative mind. Your sign is ruled by the planet of communication and curiosity, and that combination gives you an ability to make connections between ideas that most people would never link together. You see patterns where others see chaos. You find humor where others find only heaviness. You can take two completely unrelated concepts and weave them together into something original and compelling. That is your gift. And this week, that gift is not just active. It is amplified. You are going to have ideas this week that surprise you with their clarity and their originality. They might come at unexpected moments. In the middle of a conversation, during a walk, right before you fall asleep, or first thing in the morning when your mind is still soft and unguarded. These ideas are not random. They are downloads. The universe is transmitting on your frequency this week, and the messages it is sending are creative in nature. New solutions to old problems, fresh perspectives on stale situations, innovative approaches to challenges that have had you stuck for weeks or months. The key to working with this energy is to capture those ideas the moment they arrive. Do not assume you will remember them later. You will not. Creative inspiration is like lightning. It strikes quickly and brightly, but if you do not catch it, it vanishes just as fast. Keep something nearby to record your thoughts. A notebook, a voice recorder, a simple app on your phone, whatever works for you. And when an idea lands, capture it immediately, no matter how strange or impractical it seems in the moment. Some of the most world-changing ideas in human history sounded absurd when they were first conceived. Absurdity is not a disqualification. It is often a sign that you are thinking beyond the boundaries of what currently exists, and that is exactly where innovation lives. But this creative energy is not just about ideas. It is about how you live. This week, challenge yourself to do one thing differently every day. Take a different route. Eat something new. Reach out to someone you would not normally contact. Rearrange something in your environment. Read something outside your usual interests. These small acts of creative living break the monotony of routine and signal to the universe that you are open, that you are flexible, that you are ready for new experiences. And the universe responds to that signal by sending you more of what you are asking for. More newness, more surprise, more serendipity. There is a specific creative project or idea that has been sitting dormant in the back of your mind. You know the one. The thing you keep meaning to start but never do. The idea that excites you and terrifies you in equal measure. This week is the week to begin. Not to finish. Not to perfect. Just to begin. Take the first step. Write the first sentence. Make the first sketch. Have the first conversation. The beginning is always the hardest part. And this week's energy is specifically designed to help you overcome the inertia of starting. Once you are in motion, momentum will carry you further than you expect. I also want to mention that creative energy and timing are deeply connected. When your timing is right, your creativity flows more naturally. And when your creativity flows, your timing improves. They feed each other in a beautiful cycle that gets stronger with each rotation. This week is an entry point into that cycle. Step in, let the current carry you, and do not be surprised if something you create this week becomes far more significant than you ever imagined it would be. Tip 10. The 10th and final energy this week is the most powerful of all, and it is the one that ties everything else together. This energy is about choice. Not the small everyday choices like what to eat or what to wear, but the deep defining choices that determine the trajectory of your entire life. The choices that separate the people who live with intention from the people who drift through their years wondering what happened. You are standing at a crossroads, Gemini. You may not see it clearly yet, but by the end of this week, the two paths will be unmistakable. One path is the familiar one. It is the path of doing what you have always done, thinking what you have always thought, expecting what you have always expected. It is comfortable, it is predictable, and it leads to more of what you already have. The other path is unknown. It is the path that requires faith, that demands courage, that asks you to release your grip on certainty and step into possibility. It is not comfortable, it is not predictable, but it leads somewhere extraordinary. The timing improvement you are experiencing this week, all of it, has been building toward this moment of choice. The alignment from tip 1, the decisive action from tip 2, the emotional honesty from tip 3, the career clarity from tip 4, the health awareness from tip 5, the secret release from tip 6, the generational pattern breaking from tip 7, the trust rebuilding from tip 8, the creative awakening from tip 9. All of these energies converge here at this point of decision. They have been preparing you, strengthening you, clearing away everything that might cloud your judgment or weaken your resolve. And now, with all of that preparation behind you, you are ready. But I want to be very honest with you about something. Choosing the unfamiliar path does not mean everything suddenly becomes easy. It means everything becomes meaningful. There is a profound difference. Easy is sitting on the couch. Meaningful is climbing the mountain. Easy requires nothing from you. Meaningful requires everything. But meaningful is also what fills your life with the kind of richness that you cannot buy, cannot fake, and cannot find anywhere except on the other side of your own courage. This week, the universe is not going to make the choice for you. It never does. Free will is sacred, and no planetary alignment, no matter how powerful, can override your sovereignty as a human being. What the universe is doing is making the choice as clear as possible. It is removing the fog. It is turning up the lights. It is showing you both paths with complete transparency so that whatever you choose it with your eyes wide open. And here is what I want to leave you with as we close this final energy. Your timing is not improving by accident. It is improving because you are ready. You have done the inner work. You have survived the hard seasons. You have grown in ways that you cannot even fully appreciate yet because you are still too close to the transformation to see its full shape. But from where I am standing, from the perspective of someone who reads these energies and watches them unfold week after week, I can see it clearly. You are not the same person you were 6 months ago. You are not even the same person you were 6 weeks ago. Something has shifted at the deepest level of your being, and that shift is now expressing itself in your external reality as improved timing, as open doors, as synchronicities that feel almost too perfect to be coincidental. Trust it. Trust yourself. Trust the process that has brought you to this exact moment. You did not arrive here by accident. You arrived here by design. A design far more intelligent and far more loving than anything your rational mind could have constructed. And the fact that you are hearing these words right now, at this exact point in your journey, is not a coincidence either. This is confirmation. This is the universe saying, yes, you are on the right track. Keep going. Gemini, this week has not been a collection of random energies. It has been a symphony. Every note has been placed with precision, every theme has been building toward a crescendo, and that crescendo is happening right now in this very moment, as you absorb the truth of what you have heard and decide what to do with it. You came to this reading because something in you knew you needed to hear it. Something in you recognized that you were on the edge of something significant, and you needed clarity to know which way to lean. Now you have that clarity. The 10 energies we have walked through together are not just predictions. They are invitations. Invitations to align, to act, to feel, to grow, to heal, to trust, to create, and to choose. Each one is a door, and behind each door is a version of your life that is more vibrant, more authentic, and more deeply satisfying than anything you are currently experiencing. But doors do not open themselves. They require your hand on the handle. They require your willingness to step through. They require the one thing that no reading, no prediction, no cosmic alignment can provide for you. Your decision to show up for your own life with everything you have. The timing is here. The energy is here. The support is here. The only remaining question is whether you are here too, fully present, fully committed, fully ready to receive what this extraordinary week is offering you. And from everything I can see in your energy right now, the answer is yes. You are ready. You have been ready for longer than you know. So step forward, Gemini. Step forward with confidence, with courage, with the quiet certainty that comes from knowing you are exactly where you are supposed to be at exactly the right time. Because you are. This week proves it. And every week that follows will confirm it even further, as long as you keep choosing to move. You have two options after this video. Close it and hope things shift, or decide that the next 21 days will be different. If you choose the second, the structured 21-day transformation aligned with your sign is waiting in the pinned comment. The energy is already moving, the only question is whether you are.